Welcome back to Transport Fever 2. So we're back in the sandbox mode on the big build. So in this episode what we're going to do is add airports to the map. So kind of air is the last type of vehicle that to add to the map. So what I'm going to do here is put 2 airports in between 2 of the cities. The 2 cities that are going to join up, so we've got Stevenage and Cowes. So these both maps just happen to be at either end of the map. I thought it was easiest to start like that. That's one thing with the airports on this and the air kind of vehicles and stuff and the aeroplanes. The maps probably aren't quite big enough to have that type of thing on it. They probably need to be 3 or 4 times as big, the maps. I am on the Megalomaniac map, which is the experimental maps that you have to go and modify the text file in the background to get. So even with a huge map like that, yeah, it's probably not quite big enough. So that's why I've put them at either end of the map, just so it kind of makes sense where they are. So what we're doing here, we're at Cowes. So this is a mod that I downloaded, the airfield, or airport is. I'm not quite sure what the difference is between the regular one and this one. It didn't actually look that much different. Maybe the actual main building looks different, I can't remember what the other one looks like, but I don't think it's that much different. So it's going to be the biggest airport that you can get in the game. So it's going to have 3 terminals, a hangar, and just the regular building. Just 1 runway to start off with. But I think if we add maybe more airports around the map, then we'll probably add some more runways as well. So it kind of ended up being on a bit of a cliff because I kind of wanted all the ground to be flat. So as you can see, I just fill in all the holes and stuff. And then just paint in between. So this is tarmac we're using to fill in all the gaps in between, just to make it look a little bit more like an airfield. So then we jump down to Stevenage. So we're going to do pretty much the same down here. So again we'll just plonk down a big airport. So I did use the same airport as the one up at Cowes. And we'll put a road in front of it. So I did do the road on this one slightly different, because when you do it like that it doesn't really look great, and probably doesn't look how you would put in a airfield or a road to an airport. So again I kind of just make sure everything's flat, because it would be pretty flat around an airport. Although I have seen airports where it's not flat and they kind of looks quite dangerous where they land. But for my map it's going to be all flat. So again what we're going to do down here is all the bits that are kind of in between is fill them in with tarmac. That mountain that you can see there I did end up flattening, because when the planes take off they actually flew through the mountain, which obviously is not realistic at all, so that mountain had to go. So as you can see here I'm putting a one-way street in. So I was going to do on the full length of the airport, but that didn't really make sense to me either. So what I ended up doing, before I got rid of all the grass and stuff, or the long grass, is kind of doing like a little one-way street around it. So what the buses can do then is when they come from the main city, so from Stevenage, they can go around this little loop, one-way loop. Do think probably so the terrain tools are quite good in this. but there is room for improvement. I must flatten things several times to make sure they are flat, and they're never actually properly flat, as you can see. So we'll have another attempt to put in the road, one-way road. So that time that did actually work much better. So I do end up putting some props and things like that in front of the one at Cowes. So I actually go and make the one, the airport in Cowes, look at the road look exactly the same as that one. Although I did that off video because I quite like the look of that. So we do need some decent props to go in front of that. Maybe a few benches and trees and things like that. One thing I'm not sure about if I've seen any flowers or kind of bushes or things like that. So I may have to have a look on the store on the workshop for anything like that. If you do know of any mods that look quite good, do leave them in the comments below, because I have been looking on the store quite a bit for different stuff. I think quite like that random bits would look quite good having flowers or something like that instead of just trees all the time. So we're just painting here with the shortest grass, so it looks like it's been mowed. And of course, I think probably my favourite mod on this that I've got so far is the fencing mod. It is really good, and I'm not quite sure why they didn't have this in the game anyway. So you would have a giant fence around the airport so people can't actually get into it. And then just a couple of trees to line down there. So what I also do later on is for the buses and stuff is put two bus routes. So the bus route around Stevenage to the airport, so they can bring passengers backwards and forwards, and also the same in Cowes. So as you can see there, we're just adding the bus stop. So I hadn't actually done anything around Stevenage, so just kind of added a bus depot just there. As you can see, that one-way thing I think worked quite well. So the buses we're going to use around there are just the regular Mercedes buses. So they are mods as well, I believe. We use exactly the same buses that over at Cowes, so basically it's the same. Although I have already got the bus route around Cowes because we've got the train station up there as well. And the aeroplane that we're going to use is an Airbus A320. I'm just going to get a few of them. And there we go, that's the first flight for the aeroplanes. These models do look really good. I love the way they kind of take off and everything like that, and everything moves on them. They do look fantastic. So then we're going to jump straight into the next part. So the next part is going to be the construction materials deck plants. So quite a few of the cities need brick or construction materials. So I thought I would start doing that. So here we're in between Needham Market and what's the other place? Melvin. I think that's how you say the name, Melvin. And this is just the construction part of the kind of construction part from construction materials. So you actually bring stone in here. So at the minute I kind of put this all in one area. What I'm going to do for the stone though is kind of dot them around a little bit more around the map. I'm probably not use trains, so I think for most other things at the minute I'm using trains, but I'm probably just going to use trucks. Because I've got quite a big motorway network now, trucks would work quite well for this. And what I wanted to do here is to try and get it to blend in all together quite nicely. So on the actual models they've got like little stone mountains, or little piles of stones, as you can see there. So I thought if I put some of them around the area, it would kind of all tie it in together. So all I'm doing here is using the terrain tool and kind of making a pile. And then I think they must have in the game give you the tools to so the painting tools to match the ground. So as you can see there, I'm just making it look exactly the same. Not exactly the same, similar. So what we've got around the edge is dirt. So I think it's also some brown grass. So a little bit later on I'll come and add a bit more brown grass around. What I did want on here is an office building or something like that, because it felt like there would be an office building, but I can't find one that looks any good. So I will be back on the store looking for some office buildings. What I tried to make these look a bit more pile-like as well. So as you can see on the actual model, they're a little bit more random. Mine were a bit more round. What I also do, so as you can see there, actually the brown grass, so I'm just going to add a little bit more brown grass here and there, just to make sure it blends in a little bit better. And what I did think was some of these kind of piles that I've put down did look a little bit random. And I think you'll probably have like a little road to it, so I put a few more roads in. Not that they're going to do anything, but I think it just makes it again, just ties everything together. So I think you probably would have a road round like that, just to the stone storage areas. So this road was actually already here, and it's actually one of the ones that goes under the motorway. And because I actually quite like the bridge that I built under the motorway, I don't really want to get rid of it, so I'm going to keep it and just make the trucks kind of go a bit of a long way around. And what I wanted to also do here was maybe make a bit of an in and out, so that's why I've got a one-way street. And because in this game the trucks and stuff, cars and everything drive on the other side of the roads that you do in England, yeah, it took me a minute to work out which way these should go around, but I think I figured it out in the end. So again, one of the things I'm looking for is a security hut. I think I've mentioned that probably a couple of times. I've not actually found one yet, but I do have a kiosk. I think it's a souvenir kiosk. but it kind of looks like a hut, so, or a security hut, so I thought I'd go with that. As you can see, I've downloaded quite a few mods. So this is the yeah, the little souvenir hut. Kind of looks like a security hut, doesn't it? Yeah. So yeah, I think an office building at the back there would look quite good. And of course, we want a fence around it. It's the kind of place that would probably operate heavy machinery, so you don't want just any old people breaking in or wandering in. I wonder if there's a little barrier as well, so a little like a yeah, security barrier that goes across there. May have to have a look for one of them. I assume there might be somewhere, because there's... Yes, I did have a look, so I do have that building there, and various other buildings. So these are little pallets of stone, so just to make sure, or make everything tie in a little bit more, and just make sure it looks like I'll have a few more things dotted around. I do put quite a few of these around. I suppose it's almost like a pallet of bricks or breeze blocks. I'm not actually sure if they are supposed to be that, but that's what they are in my head, so that's what they're going to be. There's probably something the developers could add a few more props and things like office buildings and stuff like that. Or maybe even make the kind of construction facilities and all the rest of them, the kind of factories, much bigger. Especially if you're kind of working on a map this size. So I really wanted to put that somewhere, but it just wasn't going to go, I don't think. Just to finish up, just a few kind of cargo containers, shipping containers. And that's this week's episode. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give the video a like and hit subscribe for more Transport Fever. And if you don't mind, please share it on your social media, and I'll see you next time.